I don't move if I do not get the strong inclination to do so. And I'm being very, very honest with you. I mean, there are some days I feel like I'm not living to my fullest potential yet. I'm not working fully in my purpose.
Yeah.
But when those thoughts come, to be honest, it's an opportunity for me to go back to the Lord to say, okay, where have I lagged, or where do I need to do better,
Right.
or how do I need to support a friend or a family member better.
Right.
Seasons do change, so whatever you're going through right now is just for a season. Extend grace to yourself.
Right.
See every season as a life lesson. The key things to take out from a season is, okay, what are you learning? What is the journey like? How is the journey you're going through? Even if it's a season that filled with so many failures, what did you learn so that you can be better?
Right.
When you move on. In the past, I used to be so crippled by, things being perfect. I mean, that's just the spirit of perfection. And the truth is that there's nothing like perfection in our lives. Let's be honest. So I always wanted to be perfect in everything that I did. When things don't go right, there's a lot of questions as to why. I beat myself up so much.
Welcome to another conversation on Think Twice. My host today goes by the name of Dere. Dere is from Nigeria. I met her through the activity of running. And I'm going to get to know her a little bit better today. But before we get into some of the questions that we have planned for this conversation, I'll give it to Dere to let you guys know who she is and a little bit more about herself.
Thanks, Barry.
You're welcome.
And it's an honor to be here. I think when I watched I don't know if it's your first one or at least seen the podcast that you shared on Instagram, and I commented, and then you're like, well, would you do the honors of being here next? And I'm very, very honored actually, so thank you for having me. Who's Dere? So my name is Dere Akindoju. I'm a Nigerian, but I've been in Canada for 15 years now. I'm raising my family here. My profession, my life has just been built here in Halifax, Nova Scotia. Like Barry said, I did meet Barry at I'll say the run club, my run club. He did come to be, he is a member. Barry has been part of the family for a very long time. Thank you, Barry, for honoring, just honoring us with your presence. And we do share at least the same movement. He's a runner, I'm a runner. I like to run, he loves to run, and he loves to be active too. I mean, he hasn't really shared his active career with me, but I've gotten a hint and a sense of what he did in the past. He used to play soccer, so by default we just connected. I've always been a sprinter. I ran for 4 years. I ran varsity 4 years, so it's always been in my blood to be active. Activity, being intentionally active, I should say, is the top of my list. Obviously, after God, then my family. Just staying active is so important to me, important for longevity, important in raising my family. I want to be the best version of myself every single day. I want to be someone that, my kids will look up to, say, what, I want to be like mommy, or better than mommy. I want to be strong like mama. I want to raise strong children. So I have goals when it comes to being active. But aside from that, I'm a business professional. I'm an entrepreneur. So my 9 to 5, I'm a payroll analyst. So basically, I crunch numbers and I look at numbers every single day. I analyze data for over 400,000 employees. On the side, I also personal train, strength training. I'm a run club coach for Run with Dere. My baby, a brand that by God's grace we've built for the past 3 years. And a mom, a wife, it do it all.
It do it all.
It do
all
it all.
Rounder.
It do it all rounder by the grace of God. Yes.
No, it's very inspiring, especially like I said, like I've always told you, being where you are right now with all the responsibilities that you have at hand and still being at the top of your game for this long, for it's especially for your young boy, that's a great role model right there, right? So one of the first ones I want us to address is if I were to ask you, to take me back to the beginning, what does that beginning look like for you?
The beginning.
Yeah.
Should I go back to the beginning? You know, when I first came to Canada.
Oh, yeah. Wherever you want to start, what would you say is your beginning?
My beginning, really, first of all, I would say is the opportunity to be here. I come from a beautiful country, Nigeria, and growing up, we had so many uncertainties. I know growing up, I would always see my uncles, my aunties at the time, you know, go to university, but maybe after their first semester, they're back home.
Right.
They wouldn't go to school for months and years, maybe due to a strike.
Right.
And I know that my parents did not want that for myself and my sisters. So after our high school education, I mean, we'll call it secondary school, but here you call it high school. It was a no-brainer that we were going to school overseas.
Right.
So come to Canada.
Right.
And Canada was the only, should I say, country that was in the mouth of my parents in my household. We had gone to the States, we had gone to the UK. Funny enough, we had never come to Canada prior to coming to Canada for school. So I really say my beginning was transitioning, leaving what I knew, my security, my space, my family, to live in a different country. Because coming here, we came with our mom, we came with our dad. I mean, I was lucky enough to have my older sister here who sort of, you know, cleared the path for me to be here. So did my, should I say, first 4 years at Dalhousie University. And I remember going to Dal and seeing the track team actually running on the track. And when I went to visit the gym, and I'm like, I want to try out for the track team, and I did, but the intention was not to be part of them. I'll be honest with you. It was just like, okay, Dere, you tried out, whether or not you got in, it's okay. You did something different aside from just come to university and go to school. But as the Lord would have it, I did make the track team, and I was a bit shocked, but I was glad that I went through that journey for 4 years. I had to relearn, unlearn a lot of things. Now, when we do sports back home, you know, you make do with what you have. You know, back home, we don't have the same resources that are here. I grew up with running barefoot. It was only maybe the last few years of my time in high school that, okay, they started introducing, you have to run with proper shoes. And when we say proper shoes, we're talking about tennis shoes. We're talking about, I guess, shoes that are, if you think of Converses, that's what we started running with, not spikes.
Not spikes,
I was introduced to spikes here
Me too.
Canada.
I feel you.
And I didn't know how to navigate that because it came with a lot of injuries, came with a lot of shin splints, a lot of muscle aches and pains that I was never used to, but I knew I had to adjust because the truth is that to be better at something, to be a master at something, you have to learn everything around that thing to be best at it. And watching the TV and seeing how the professional athletes run, their gear, their shoes, it's like, okay, these are the right resources, these are the right tools. I mean, for the 13 years of my life, I never experienced that. So now I have to relearn, you know, how to do the right things in the right way. So that really opened up or reevaluated my love for running. Like I said, I always ran back home for my school, and then doing it here on a varsity level created more opportunities for me to just be a better version of myself. To also create opportunities for others. Honestly, at the time, I thought of just myself. It's like, you're Dere, you're in this country, you're coming to study, you also want to try something new. So why not try track and field? After I graduated, I kept at it, to be honest. Instead, I actually just transitioned to strength training, because training here for track looked like you run a lot, you lift a lot too. We had 2 lifting days, and we had a lot more other run days. So filled with sprints, long runs, hills. But I kept the lifting days out after I graduated. But fast forward to after having my son, I felt like I needed to go back to what I knew. And the only way to ease myself back into what I knew was running. So that's how I picked up longer runs. I always used to be a sprinter.
Yeah.
But long runs I picked up from, after childbirth and being cleared by my doctor to say, okay, now you can go back to physical activity.
Yeah.
So that's what really birthed who I am and where I am today. Mm-hmm. And I'll also say an experience that I had, coming to the side of the world where you didn't really see a lot of people. I mean, now we've opened up, to be honest. Halifax has opened up. It's so diverse. Mm-hmm. But when I was here 15 years ago, we were not very strong in diversity. Yeah. So even trying to be part of clubs and groups that I can share the same sentiment, like I can share the same space with my people, wasn't there. Mm-hmm. And I did go to one that I wasn't very welcomed into. Okay. So that was one aspect of why the Run Club was birthed, because interestingly, in that moment, I didn't think about it. Mm-hmm. Now, this was years and years after the fact it had happened. I would never forget that, because I was still in university at the time. My sister had invited me to go to this Run Club. I did. She wasn't able to make it, so I went solo. Yeah. And I go there and I run probably like a 10K. Not talking to anybody. Mm-hmm. Nobody. I wasn't seen. Mm-hmm. I wasn't seen at all from start to finish. Yeah. Literally was done that race and got in my car and went home.
Wow. That was an experience.
And then to think about it, honestly, at the time I was like, oh, whoop-de-doo. I mean, I ran, came, conquered, moving on with my life. But this only resonated with me like years down the line, and especially after having my son, where I said, you know what, I want to go back to running. And then when I thought of, let me go join a run club, because I didn't know of a run club like my run club or your run club, that just offers that big range of diversity. Yeah. And I would say this was the Holy Spirit that dropped this thought in my heart that, okay, why don't you just start something, especially for people who are looking for a safe, easy space. Because my run club too is not... I don't want to say competitive. I don't want to use the word competitive. I mean, there are a lot of run clubs where it's like, okay, people want to run their best. They want to beat their last time. And you can be very intimidated by that, especially if you're a new runner. Yes. Right? So I was looking for a space where you're a new mom like me and you just want to go back to running gradually and not feel like you need to run a 3 minutes pace per kilometer. Yeah. Right, so, and it was just a thought in my heart, shared it with a few people, even consulted a friend in Toronto who really was the one who also helped, in building us to where we are today, Miguel Ping. And I seen that he had already done something in Toronto, and it's like, what, this is the idea, just a very welcoming, all ages space where everyone just feels like they can just run without having to feel the pressure of, okay, I need to run a good time, best time. I mean, now we're going to create that space for people who want to do that. But for now, let's just run. Let's just come to run and clear our minds. That's really the beginning. That's how it all started, from my university days, from a seed that was planted, from an experience that I also had, and to life, because my life changed in between all of that, building a family, getting married, having a child, and then seeing how I can fit my love for running in all of that. Yeah.
Now, reflecting on those years, out of that time period, when would you say you struggled the most? Was there a certain point where you're like, oof, this is a lot to bear?
I mean, let me think about that. There were days and times, first of all, that running was not
easy.
It was not easy. And even up until this day, there are days I can wake up to and say, oh, I really don't want to do this today. But we are disciplined. We are disciplined individuals, and I know myself too, because I'm the kind of person, if I give myself a stick or if I give myself a finger, I'll draw the whole hand, right? So in order to stay disciplined, to stay structured, to stay discerning, just to stay in line with the goal and the assignment, I need to be focused. Yes, not disregarding days that, okay, you need to rest, not disregarding days that, okay, you need to take a downtime, but just also having a goal helps you be in line. And in terms of difficult days, in terms of days that I struggled, in terms of days that I felt like, okay, maybe I'm not showing up to full capacity, or I'm not showing up for those who maybe have been looking up to me and feel like, okay, Dere is not showing up the way she wants to. I would really say it were those days where I transitioned, my mama days, transition from after childbirth to just going back to what I had known, what I had loved. Not having that space to do that. I'm grateful for my sister, because we both had our children, or our child at the time, months apart. So she was really my accountability partner, and she was my go-to. Okay, we're going for a walk today. We're going for a light run today. But I struggled in that season to just find community of people that I can share at least what I like, what they like. Like we can share similarities together. I think that was a big piece that was missing, in my transition. Mentally struggled with it, but moved past it. Grew out of it.
That's good. That's important. Yeah. Now, we did touch on this a little bit during your student athlete years. But if you could reflect on that time period, what are some of the life lessons that you drew from that time?
My student days, so many life lessons. I think I really learned a lot of discipline. Like I said, coming from Nigeria, doing track, running, even doing sports was a whole lot different. The structure is different here. There's a lot more resources, like I had mentioned. There's a lot more accountability. Everyone knows the goal. Everyone knows, the agenda, the plan. So we all have to be in alignment with that. So trainings where some days I found training tough. It's like, aside from being an athlete, you're a student. You're working. Everything is priority. One is not more important than the other. Yes, I could have easily said, what, my father, and every African will say this, your father did not send you to come and run.
100%. That's so true.
And I could have, to be honest, I could have easily said that, my parents didn't send me here to run, but this was something I knew I loved. Yes, with schooling, you do it for yourself, but you're also doing it for your family. You're also doing it for your parents. With track, that was for me, because mom and dad, should I say, could care less if Dere made varsity. If I came to tell them, oh, Dere, you made that, they were like, okay, sure, that's just an added extra to what we sent you to do. So one of the things that I learned, like I said, was just discipline and consistency. Like, to be a better version of yourself, you needed to put in the work. And we had different seasons. We had summer track, we had winter track, and you also had different races that you ran to. So when you run in a particular season, you want to know that you want to beat your time. You want to know that you've grown past, how you started. And that requires a lot of training. That requires a lot of dedication, a lot of teamwork too. And I think I learned a lot of teamwork from track days. I still have one of the most amazing friends till this day. In fact, the 3 out of the 4 girls who made AUS 4x2, which was a team I was on, Dalhousie, we still have a great connection up until last weekend where we met, and I was so tempted to recreate a picture that we took. How many years ago? 10 years ago. I was so tempted to recreate it, but we just didn't have the time. So teamwork, discipline, and consistency were really the big things that kept me going, and my life lessons up until this day.
So we touched on this one. How have you maintained your drive and, as your responsibilities have expanded beyond just being a mother, right? Like now, like I said, you juggle so much work, right? You've got your own, side hustle that you do on the side. You're an entrepreneur. You got so much going on. So with that in mind, like, how have you maintained that rigor?
I say my faith plays a big role in everything that I do till this day. I don't move if the Lord says I shouldn't move. I don't move if I do not get the strong inclination to do so. And I'm being very, very honest with you. I mean, there are some days I feel like I'm not living to my fullest potential yet. I'm not working fully in my purpose.
Yeah.
But when those thoughts come, to be honest, it's an opportunity for me to go back to the Lord to say, okay, where have I lagged, or where do I need to do better,
Right.
or how do I need to even support a friend or a family member better.
Right.
Now, I've gotten words, prophetic words. I've gotten ministers, speak and pray into my life where they've seen me grow in capacity. And I had to really sit down and think about, what does capacity mean? Because I've heard it so much. And I mean, to everyone else, I'm walking in capacity. To myself, sometimes I don't feel like I am. But basic capacity is just really having enough space in you to do everything. And how I can balance it all sometimes, I don't know if I'm going to have the right answer for you here. I don't personally know. But I'll always go back to the grace of God. I'm going to leave it at that. We thank God for His grace, the strength, the grit to just continue to pull through. Also, having a goal and a vision. I know I've said goal a lot. I'm raising a family. I'm raising a son. By God's grace, raising more children. I want them to see the legacy their mom lived. I want them to see that, mommy could, I don't want to say do it all, because the truth is that sometimes we can't do it all without the help of a community, your spouse, your friends. But to see that she really carried her head up high. I'm grateful for my husband. My husband has really, really, really allowed me to be me. My journey today cannot be shared without him in it. He's one person that can drop everything so that I can do what I need to do. He's seen the vision. We've prayed about the vision. We've shared the vision. Sometimes he's even seen it farther than I have seen it. So he's like, if I have to stop my life so that yours will continue,
I'll do it.
Let's go for it. And those are the things that, help me go, keep going. I'm not gonna come on here to tell you there are days where I don't feel like I don't want to do it anymore. There are days where I haven't dropped the ball because I have. That's the truth. There are days where I'm like, okay, Dere, you need to slow down. You need to take a break. But I think the most important thing is gathering myself to myself and realizing that there is a bigger picture here. There is an assignment here. And every season is different. So the truth is I don't do everything all at once. I know when to go. I know when to stop. I know when to go again. And I know when to pull back. And I think that's the most important piece. Whereas the seasons are different, and knowing how to carry yourself in each season helps you emotionally, helps you mentally. Even the right people come in those seasons. Like the right people won't come at the same time. I mean, they could, but it's your responsibility to say, okay, maybe it's not your time to help me. So let's dial back. When the time is right, you'll come again. And these are the few things that have really helped me. But I'll say my faith, just being very, very prayerful about every move. We're in an age too where everybody's doing everything. You go online, you see this person, so you think I can do it better. But is that what you're called to do? Right? Is that your assignment for the season? So just really knowing your assignment, knowing your identity, and leave the balance really for the Lord. I think the balance just comes naturally. My mom is a busybody, and I think I'll just say that I took some of that from her. My mom can't sit still without doing something, wanting to go out. Sometimes I'm like that too, but I'm learning to dial back, Dere, but having the vision ahead and knowing the bigger picture and wanting to also really leave a legacy for my child, my children, is the goal and one of the things that have kept me.
That's beautiful. I love that. That's a great answer. Thank you. Thank you for that. Now, our last topic, we're just going to focus on your role as a mother, right? So, as you noted, you have how old is he?
Noah's 5.
Noah's 5, right? So Noah is a growing boy right now. He's seeing a lot, and you placing him in environments that are enabling him to be taught things that won't be coming from you directly, right? For example, I've seen you in the morning with him running with you. I've seen him at the run club around people that are older, but yet he sees parts of him in these people, right?
Yeah.
So what are some of the things that you're teaching him early on, some of the tenets for him to, build up on as the years go along?
I'd say a big one, first of all, is respect. Noah has been put in spaces where he doesn't only see his age group.
Right.
Honestly, since he was born, he's been with myself and my husband everywhere we've been. I've also been of the notion of he doesn't have to stay home. I mean, if we can take him where he can thrive and play, why not? Also coming from a culture to where, the children are left at home, mommy's going out, daddy's going out. Now, there's time for that I can understand. But to also help them, I don't want to say grow faster, but to just help them see the world, experience the world. I think it's okay to have your children with you. So for me, I've always been of that mindset. It's okay, if I'm going to the gym, I'm grateful for Pro Edge that, has a very open space. Noah, you can come along with me. Mama loves to lift weights. You can lift weights with Mama. Mama loves to run. You can run with Mama. But also teaching him respect, because he's going to meet other people from various walks of life. He has a lot of questions too. He has a lot of thoughts, ideas. Noah is very outspoken. But one piece we're teaching him is to be respectful in everything that you do, especially because he's not in the same space with his age group. You're in a space with older adults, or in a space with even older teenagers or older kids. You need to know how to respond to them. You need to know how to talk to them. So that's at least one big tenet that I'm teaching him. And community. We are in a diverse world. Not everyone is brown skin. Not everyone will be brown skin for your entire life, right? So showing him that, okay, you have Caucasians in your mix, you have Asians in your mix, you have Indians in your mix, you have people of color like ourselves in your mix, and you treat them respectfully. Opening that diverse conversation with him. And the truth is that he's come home and he's asked some questions, and we answer it truthfully. There's no need to hide. He's at an age where Noah is very smart. He can understand. Yes, there are some things that we need to explain further. But by the grace of God and with wisdom, we've explained it, in the right way. So respect, community, and just to be a loving person, to be kind. Being kind, I mean, we just spoke about this offline. Kindness attracts kindness. Everything that you do on this earth is because you were kind, or when you are approached in the future, if someone sees you in the future, because you were kind to them in the past. So there's no need to be a mean person or talk to someone disrespectfully. Just be genuinely kind, open-hearted to everyone. And I'm just so grateful for the opportunity to do that. I would also say our environment caused it sometimes. We were blessed to have my parents, stay with us for a few years. So we had that great support. Okay, you need to quickly dash out the house. You leave Noah with mom and dad. But we were also blessed with a season where we did not have the extra help. So Noah has to come along, and he has to, I don't want to say learn in the hard way, but he just has to learn life. Mommy needs to go out. You need to go out with mommy. You need to be patient. Mama needs to be here for a few minutes. You need to be patient and wait for mama. Okay, while mama is doing this, maybe you can play this, you can do this. So it's just teaching him the ways of life and teaching him what he would see outside when we're not there. I think that's the important piece to an important life lessons that I'm glad that we are instilling in him at a young age. And we're also honing his talents. Noah is very athletic. We can already see he loves soccer, he loves to swim, he loves to run. So we believe in giving him that opportunity to do those things now. Whether or not he would continue it in the future, we don't know yet. But at least giving him the opportunity to play soccer. When the time is right, maybe we'll put him in track and field. He's already swimming. He's in music school. Like he's busy. Noah has a busy schedule more than his mom and dad. I know sometimes people think we're crazy, but I think it also helps him build great consistency, dedication, accountability.
Yeah.
Just so many life lessons he's learning now, even though it doesn't make a lot of sense to him at this point. I believe it will in the future.
No, that's beautiful. Thank you for sharing that. The last question I want you to, touch on is, what do you think is the greatest lesson your husband has taught you this far?
There's so many.
If there's one you could pick that just thinking about him, that's the thing that resonates with you the most.
I would say seasons change.
Okay.
I've always been, not always been, I'm very, very, I can be very structured in my way, be very my way or the highway, like this is what I know, this is what I believe, no detours.
Right.
But my husband has taught me that a season is only for a time. What you're experiencing now, what you're going through now, doesn't mean that tomorrow you're going to go to that same thing.
That's right.
Again. Give yourself the grace now. The reason why you're here, the reason why you're going through the season is for you to learn, is for you to also build on what is to come. Right. Honestly, he's done a lot for me in terms of growth, in terms of just pushing me to be the better version of myself, giving me that opportunity to even thrive in the space that I'm in. Such a great father to Noah. He's really stepped up in a lot of responsibilities so that I can be here today, for instance. Just grateful for him.
Thank you for sharing all these moments with me. It's just another layer of you that I'm getting to get to know, right? And I really appreciate what you've shared with me here today, and I really appreciate your time for this episode. This is definitely the beginning of something I would say eternal, right? I hope it goes as long as we can keep it. And yes, thank you for being a great role model. Thank you for being a great big sister, because people like you are people that, for me, are always in positions to help, always in positions to teach, especially with the lifestyle that you live, with all the responsibilities that you have at this age, at this stage in your life. That's an example that I know, whether I'm a boy or a woman or anyone would like to follow. So please, keep going where you're going, keep doing what you're doing, keep inspiring the people that you come across, because like I said, I used to hear stories about you before I met you, and now that I've met you, the stories add up. They add up. You are a great person. So please keep inspiring us. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Barry. Thank you for having me.
Oh no,
thank
you're
you.
welcome.
This was great. Such a beautiful experience.
I'm glad you had fun.
Thank you.
I'm glad you had fun.